Roll call, political columnist Jonathan Allen joins us now from Washington. Thanks for coming on the program, Jonathan. So what do you make of these latest poll numbers out of New Hampshire and Iowa? I mean, it sounds like both Miss Clinton and her daughter have come after him with brass knuckles now.
This is bad news for Hillary Clinton, absolutely, both in Iowa and New Hampshire. I think you're hearing political analysts right now start whispering about what happens if she loses the first two states on the calendar. Obviously, we've got a few more weeks now before we see what actually happens with the voters, caucus goers in Iowa and voters in New Hampshire. But she's definitely turning on the muscle right now, trying to find some traction against Bernie Sanders and try to prevent herself from slipping in these two states.
This has to really hurt Hillary Clinton, though. She vowed after the 2008 election she would never lose Iowa. What do you think has changed between now and November, particularly with Sanders picking up almost 10 points since then in New Hampshire?
I think, number one, a lot of Democratic voters, the more they see Bernie Sanders, they seem to like him. And in addition to that, I think they're not as sure as they once were that she would be a better general election candidate. That's the battle, of course, that's going to go on within the Democratic primary. Who would be better to keep the White House in Democratic hands? And if you look at polling right now, and Bernie Sanders points to this in the general election, he does pretty well. Now, a general election poll almost a year out from that general election probably isn't worth the paper that it's printed on. But at the moment, I think Democrats are starting to become more comfortable with Bernie Sanders, at least Democrats in Iowa and New Hampshire. And let's remember, just as a caveat here, Iowa and New Hampshire do not have Democratic electorates that are reflective of the entirety of the Democratic Party. That is to say, there aren't very many black or Hispanic voters in Iowa and New Hampshire.
Well, what's the substance behind this change? Is it the emails and the FBI investigation?
I think a lot of it has to do with the exhaustion with Hillary Clinton's scandals. When you talk about the emails, when you talk about the FBI investigation, I think some of the arguments against her made by Donald Trump and others on the Republican side about Bill Clinton's past behavior and her reaction to that may be having a little bit of an effect on voters. Whether or not they agree with Donald Trump, they may see this as something they don't want to go through over the course of the next 10 or 11 months.
You know, when you talk to people on the ground, they say the enthusiasm in Iowa has really picked up for Bernie Sanders. But you touched on this a little bit. When you look at a national poll, it appears Clinton is still leading the Democratic field.
Absolutely. And if all the states were to vote on the same day, I don't think you would see anybody talking about Bernie Sanders having tremendous momentum against her. But the fact is the voting is done sequentially, and it starts with Iowa and it goes into New Hampshire, and those contests affect the rest of the race. If you looked at how Hillary Clinton's been doing, particularly with black and Hispanic voters, generally speaking, with women of all backgrounds, and you look at the big states on the Democratic side, California, New York, Illinois, Florida, there will be a lot of Democratic delegates out of those states. She would be doing a lot better, but again, it's done Iowa first, then New Hampshire, and then the voters in the rest of the states get to see what's happened there, and that may influence what they do.